I remember way too clearly the feeling of never having enough time in the day. And if that statement resonates with you, just know you're not alone. Now, if you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Gerald Ford, and I help executive chefs transition from burnout and chaos to confident leaders running structured, process-driven operations. With 3 decades in high-performance kitchens, I've learned that success isn't just about cooking, it's about building the right systems, communicating with clarity, putting our focus where we need to make progress, and developing teams that operate with precision and excellence. If that's what you're looking for, you're in the right place. Stick around with me because in this video, I'm going to teach the exact 6 steps I use with my clients so you can put your focus and attention where it belongs so that you can get back that control. Now let's get into it. As an executive chef, there are constant demands for our attention, as there should be. But it's easy to get caught in the endless cycle of putting out fires, reacting to everyone else's emergencies, and being unable to focus on what actually moves the bar consistently with the work at the level that we need to execute. What if I told you the problem isn't so much time, but most often it's how we manage our attention? In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I help my clients regain control of their time, reclaim their focus, and get back to running their kitchens so it can't run them. But first, let me tell you about one of my clients, Chef Derek Connor, who was looking for a way out of the cycle of chaos, putting out fires and not improving that which was most important to him in his operation. Once he implemented and revised his process of prioritization and focus, he reclaimed enough time every week to stop and put attention where it was needed. What happened? Suddenly, he found the time to train the right people with the skills they needed. The skills that allowed him to clear pieces off of his plate and make space for the large projects that free up everyone. If you're ready to stop feeling burnt and like you never have enough time, then I can help. This is exactly how I help chefs like you every day to structure the week, eliminate wasted time, and focus on what keeps us effective in moving the operation forward. Click the link below in the description to learn how we can work together, and let's get started in taking back control of your time and focus. If you're serious about fixing this for good, schedule a call with me. Let me help you implement a strategy to get your kitchen running as well as an oiled machine. So here's the reality. As an executive chef, our cooks need us, our vendors need us, the GM needs us, and then there are all of the impromptu meetings from everyone else. And often, before we know it, the entire day has completely passed us by, usually when we haven't even touched our big picture work that nobody but us can do. I've found that this is why so many chefs feel like they're drowning, because they're in the reaction mode, living there, instead of actively focusing the attention and subsequent action. I know because I lived there. But the good news is you can absolutely take back control. And it all starts with something simple. Step 1, track it. Tracking where your time is actually going. What you track, you can improve. It's a statement that I've heard many times over, but it resonated most when I heard it from Stephen Junta, who I have a tremendous amount of respect for, who's accomplished some great things in his career. Most great coaches, trainers, professionals, executives will definitely echo that statement because really, if you're paying attention to it, you can improve it. To do this, you're going to need to start a time journal. You can do that with a small piece of paper. You can do that with a little Moleskine notebook. There's a sheet that I use for my clients that looks just like what you see. It's a series of columns and it's a way to track where your time is going. Because the first step to reclaiming your time is to literally document where your day is going. Most of us think we know, but when that tracking starts, the picture becomes undeniably clear. So I want you to start by doing this for 1 week. Write down everything that you do in 30-minute blocks. Yep, everything. Checking emails, fixing that broken blender, jumping on the line during a lunch or a dinner rush, impromptu meetings, commute to and from work, walking the dog, brushing your teeth. Write it all down. By the end of the week, you've got a record to look at. And that's where we can start to see the leaks in the bucket, where the time is actually being spent. The more tracking, the clearer the culprits. Because the number one culprit here are time leaks, tasks that don't move the needle but eat up the day. Once those leaks are identified, it's time to start fixing them. So that takes us to step 2, making a time block plan. Because now that you know where your time is going, it's time to take control. Enter the planning phase. Time blocking is one of the most powerful planning tools that we as executive chefs can use, and here's how I do it. First, we're going to start by leveraging the calendar. And then we're going to block out non-negotiables first. Events, commitments, scheduled appointments, weekly tasks such as like menu planning, invoice updating, schedule writing, budget checks, food cost checks, all of those things that happen ad nauseum every week. I even like to schedule and make sure that my personal calendar overlaps so that those things are taking a priority in my life as well. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. Next, you got to block out and schedule the second level, or what I like to call quadrant 1 tasks. If you're familiar with the Eisenhower matrix, those are the urgent, important tasks that are most pressing there, in order to start and clear the backlog of projects that stack up. And if you're encountering obstacles with conflicting priorities, check out this video link for a tool to sort through those tasks effectively. Because I'm not going to get into it here. Once that's done, you've got those things listed out in your calendar. Next, we're going to batch similar tasks together. For example, email. And I think it's best to try and create a couple strategic times throughout the day to check email. Instead of doing it every 20 minutes and looking at the phone, try and set aside 3 20-minute time blocks to go through email, reply, and take care of those pieces. Another example are one-on-one impromptu conversations, because most of these things can be concentrated into a daily 10-minute meeting with the team. And if you're not doing those, then you can save yourself a tremendous amount of time. But the goal is to literally take those things and plug them in to the calendar looking forward. In that first phase, we're kind of looking back as where the time's going. For the second, what we're doing is we're plugging pieces in and creating posts that are going to keep us on track for the day. The third step is to look at that calendar and to create buffer zones for chaos. Allowing time and planning for things to go a little sideways. There's usually those times when you need to be available, that you can't necessarily schedule things in. If you're having challenges in one of your outlets, it's a good idea to keep your schedule free around dinner service if you know that things get a little squirrely. Or if you know on Saturday night there's a wedding that you're probably going to have to be a part of, then schedule that time as chaos time and be ready for it. And then the final step is to test and repeat this process. Well, what I've found is I do this constantly now. I do this every week. I create a plan for myself, and I'm always refining that plan. At the end of the week, take a minute and reflect and look back at your plan and see what worked, see what didn't, and adjust accordingly so that you can do that moving forward. Test, repeat. Be open to it. Know that it's not going to be perfect the first time, and then the next week that you do it, go through the same process. Plug in those pieces that are non-negotiables, that are scheduled. Plug in those urgent priorities and those urgent tasks, those things that you have to do, those things that you must do. Then plug in those similar grouped tasks like email, your meetings, anything that you need to make time for, and schedule yourself at a time out and a time in, because that's going to make life easier as well. The more you do this, the more it becomes a habit, the more it becomes a routine, and the more this routine works in your favor to keep you confident that you're doing the work that you need to be getting done. This method is about making sure that you're focusing on what actually moves your kitchen forward. It may take a couple of weeks, but you'll get into a position where now you have some time where you can work on the bigger picture objectives. Planning for different menus, or getting ready to do a banquet menu change, working on next year's budget, making sure that your monthly labor is where it's supposed to be, or addressing challenges with inventory, bigger picture stuff. Now, at the end of the day, the problem isn't that there isn't enough time. I mean, we all have the same amount of time, and I guess we could always say that it'd be lovely to have more, but that's not going to happen. It's how our attention is actively focused that is the most pressing solution. Instead of letting ourselves be pulled in 100 different directions, when you start tracking your time, blocking it with intention, and using a process that works for you, you regain control. That becomes routine, it becomes a habit. You can stop reacting and lead with command in the kitchen. And just like Chef Derek, once you shift your focus to where it truly matters, you'll find the time to train, to complete the big projects and get ahead instead of chasing an unending task list that keeps us busy and relatively ineffective. If you found value in this video, hit like, subscribe, share, and comment below what's the biggest time drain in your kitchen. I'd love to hear from you. And then if you want to take it to the next step, if you're ready to break free from the cycle of burnout and get back in control of your time, then let's make it happen. Click the link below, schedule a call, and I'll help you build a strategy to turn your kitchen into a well-oiled machine. Your time is valuable. Let's make sure you're using it where it counts. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.